As the health crisis drags on, e-commerce continues to boom, even amid restrictions already being eased in certain parts of the country. To talk about how they're positioned for further growth, we have with us on the show Ray Alimurung, CEO of Lazada. Good morning, Sir Ray. Great to have you here with us on the show.
Good morning, Jess. Thank you for having me in your program.
All right, sir. First things first. How has Lazada been faring amid the lockdown since March? How much has the e-commerce market grown for Lazada?
So, Jess, I mean, obviously, people were locked down early March, you know. So, even as the restrictions have eased, there's still a lot of people that are still working from home and continuing to stay home after work. So, obviously, we've seen an increased adoption with e-commerce. What we're seeing in Lazada is at least 2x growth in volume from February, which is the pre-COVID period, as well as on the seller side, the sellers that are onboarding. We're seeing 3 times more sellers and brands onboarding on the platform every day versus February. Yeah, and the types of products that we're seeing that are growing very well, obviously, are essential goods, you know, like groceries, household and cleaning supplies. But surprisingly, well, we're also seeing a surge in products that have to do with staying at home and working at home. So, for example, things like office supplies, office chairs, and very interestingly, laptops. You know, an industry, a category that had been struggling, has suddenly seen a surge. You know, laptops.
Okay, that's very interesting to note. Like what you did mention, 2 times at least in the volume. All we're talking about, I'm assuming, is it sellers or consumers?
So that's in the consumer side. On the seller side, I mean, obviously it affects the sellers as well. But in sellers, what we're seeing is a surge in the onboarding of sellers, 3 times daily versus pre-COVID.
Did you also see a pickup in the amount of time that shoppers spend on the platform?
Yes, we're also seeing that, but that's also the increase in time that we're seeing in the platform is also highly related to a lot of the digital initiatives that we have rolled out since we have been noticing that. So, for example, we have ramped up our Laz Live, which is our live stream program, as well as our games. And if you watch these videos or play these games, there's a chance to get rewards, which you can exchange these for seller or platform vouchers. So these measures that encourage customers to stay online more are also related to, also in response to the increase in time that we saw. So it's kind of a virtuous cycle that's happening.
And these increases that you saw, at least since the start of the pandemic, is this still centered in Luzon, particularly in the metro, or is this already a nationwide growth here that we're seeing?
So definitely we're seeing the growth nationwide. It is more concentrated, obviously, in Luzon and Metro Manila, but that has to do largely with the development of the logistics network, which is a lot more advanced in Metro Manila and Luzon. But definitely we're seeing the surge across nationwide, definitely.
But how do you expect to sustain these increases that you've seen in the past weeks here? Especially now you have lockdowns already being eased in some parts of the country and more businesses coming back to play, including the opening of traditional stores.
Yes, so for the increases, I mean, as you know, the platform is pretty scalable. We're using a lot of the best-in-class technology from our parent company, Alibaba, where, you know, in China, China has about 100 million orders a day. So definitely we have a platform that can scale. But probably where your question is going has to do with the logistics, how it responds to this network. And we have been ramping up our logistics capabilities. We work with a range of third-party logistics providers. So we are definitely ramping this up to meet the increasing demand.
But at the same time, more to the point, really, you have traditional businesses already coming back into play here. You have stores in malls already opening. Do you somehow expect that to lead to a decline in activity on your platform?
So definitely, as the offline options increase or start to open up, definitely you'll see customers starting to patronize these establishments. However, what we've seen is that customers have discovered a lot more different type of empowerment in purchasing online. We offer a much wider range of products, a different type of convenience. Even as the restrictions lock down, we see that people are not necessarily comfortable spending a lot of time outdoors. So definitely, there may be a bit of a decline, but it will not definitely go back to pre-COVID levels. I think customers and sellers have seen the opportunities presented by e-commerce and online.
So how then do you plan to sustain that growth trajectory, even should lockdowns, especially in Metro Manila, be lifted?
So our focus just does not change. Now we continue to ensure that we empower we empower our customers and our partners, meaning the sellers and brands. We continue to do this. Today we will continue to onboard sellers and brands that have been signing up. We continue to add new users by offering these additional new brands. No, so this we don't see that activity slowing down. So even as restrictions lock down, we expect all of these brands and sellers will come on board. I think what we're seeing is that because of this life-changing crisis or event, every business, every an entrepreneur out there, we feel has to start evaluating what their digital strategy is. This is a transition that they all need to make, even if they continue to sell offline. They will definitely need to come up with a digital strategy, and Lazada is here to help them do that transition.
Now, one other development here when it comes to online platforms, you have now tax officials hoping at least eyeing to be more stringent when it comes to their tax policies for online players. In fact, they are hoping to net more revenues from online players, even singling out the big players here like Lazada and Netflix. So how's this going to affect Lazada?
Well, so just let me start by saying, that Lazada has always been consistent in complying with the government's rules and regulations, particularly in regarding tax. We remit taxes on all our fees, which could be on all our fees to sellers. And likewise, our sellers contractually agree to fully comply with local laws and regulations. However, regarding some of the later developments you've mentioned, now we will continue to monitor the situation as it is still a developing matter.
Mhm. But is this also something that's being experienced at least in other units of Lazada in Southeast Asia?
So every country has its own different context and challenges. So definitely, you're seeing a lot of these activities, these issues also being discussed in the other countries, and likewise, like I mentioned, notwithstanding the current regulations that are in development, the whole industry is really still new, and so government regulators will continue to develop a stance, regulations, policies that cater to the development of this industry.
Now, should this push through, how is Lazada going to support their sellers?
So again, no, I prefer not to comment exactly on what will push through, as the whole matter is still developing. However, I think what's important to note when you talk about supporting sellers is that during this particular crisis, Lazada has been we've gone tremendously out of our way in terms of seller support. For example, we launched a bounce back together stimulus package of about 100 billion pesos to support our either existing sellers or to help onboard new sellers.
Mhm. And at the same time, courier services have been in the news as of late here with certain developments here. How is Lazada ensuring responsible handling of packages, especially with your partner courier services?
Yes, so we work closely with several courier companies now, and I'm aware of the video that you're talking about, and I want to categorically state that that was not a Lazada operation. That is something that we would not tolerate within Lazada, and if anything such was brought to our attention, we would definitely investigate it immediately and put a stop to it. We have a very strong control of our end-to-end logistics experience, including all the policies and guidelines that are favoring the customer and seller experience.
And at the same time, safety of your staff, how is this something that you are ensuring over at Lazada?
So I'm very proud to say in Lazada, we were one of the first companies that actually, definitely health and safety and well-being of our staff is a top priority for us. On March 15, when the lockdown started, Lazada was one of the first companies that already initiated a month-long work from home. And the reality is we still continue to work from home. Obviously, this pertains to our office staff. Our logistics frontliners, our Lazada heroes, have been on the front lines since day one. What we're doing is we're ensuring that for our logistics side, we're ensuring strict health and safety guidelines. Example, regular disinfection of our warehouse and sort facilities, regular temperature checks, hygiene practices, mandatory mask wearing and disinfection. Upon delivery, we have physical distancing measures. In the warehouse, we also have social distancing in the sense that we extend hours to accommodate orders while operating a lower capacity per shift. And then as we change shifts, we ensure that the two shifts don't meet each other. So these are some of the practices we're doing to ensure the health and safety of our logistics frontliners as well as our customers.
All right, thank you for that. For those updates, you definitely have Lazada supporting growth for its sellers and customers at the same time for your staff. More growth projection, at least for Lazada, even post-COVID times. Thank you very much, Ray Alimurung, CEO of Lazada.
Thank you, Jess.